श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोन्मयादितरतस्य अर्थेष्वभिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्मरुधाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यं सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. We started this discussion of the Bhagavata Purana and we are in the Skanda 2 where we completed Skanda 2 where Parikshit Raj had some questions and then Shukamuni started explaining how the creation happens, what was there before the this Brahmanda created, who else were there, and he also explained about 10 different Lakshana, Dasa Lakshana of the Bhagavata Purana. In fact, Shukamuni said to Parikshita that your all questions can be answered in the Bhagavata Purana, and Bhagavata Purana has 10 different lakshanas, the 10 different characteristics, and in that he talks about sarga, visarga, sthana, poshana, uti, manvantras, and ishanu kathana, right? Nirodha, mukti, and ashray. So these things we discussed in little brief on those things. After this, still Parikshita had a couple of other questions, and mainly the question is about though Bhagavan is not, though the creation of the Srushti happens through Bhagavan, but how he remains outside of creation. You say once you say he enters everywhere and he creates, and once you say he is not attached. How it happens? Those are the kind of questions he asked. And when Parikshita, when the Shukamuni is answering the question, if you remember the context where the story started is in the Naimisharanya, Suta Puranika was giving the lectures on these questions, the discussions, and Shaunaka Rishis, they were asking the same questions. That's where he referred back to what happened with Parikshita and in the past what happened. In Parikshita and Shukamuni discussions, they talk about Narada story. In Narada story, Brahma and Narada Samvada, then he talks about Brahma talking about discussion with Narayana. So the Bhagavata Purana, the entire Indian Hindu concept, Vedic philosophy is a very nice way of telling these stories. So it is a nested way, like this Shaunaka and Suta Puranika, when they are discussing about this, they said, oh, this is not a new question, it has been already asked with Parikshit. When Parikshita and Shukamuni are discussing, again he goes back to somebody already asked. So they say finally entire this information has come from Narayana directly to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasa, Vyasa to Vyasa's son, that is Shukamuni, Shukamuni to Parikshit Raj, and then it continued. Now, at the present, it was discussed between Suta Puranika and the Shaunakadi Rishis, and now we are discussing about that. So, again, this kind of instance of all the storytelling keeps on continuing. So that's where he comes. Now Suta Puranika is asking, again context they bring back to the latest part. Suta Puranika is asking, hey, you mentioned about Vidura in the past. He left the kingdom. This is the end of the chapter Skanda second. Then at the end of this Skanda second, this is the question Suta Puranika is asking. Shaunaka, the Rishis are asking to Suta Puranika, saying that you are referring to Vidura. So what is that story? So can you explain? Now Skanda 3 starts with the context of the discussion between Vidura and Maitreya. they give the context, and then again they go back to the Bhagavad Puran, where it was information gathered and how it is transferred. So what is happening here is, Sutta Puranika says, when Vidura decided not to participate in Mahabharata war, actually Vidura was totally against the war. He said, why do the right things? If everybody does the right thing, there is no need of fighting. If Duryodhana does the right thing, if Duryodhana's father does the right thing, then there is no war. So we can all be in peace. This is a elevated mindset. It is asking everybody to behave properly and live and let live concept. But the nature of the world is not like that. It doesn't allow you to, the Maya doesn't allow you to continue like that. So it is a permanent problem. Now also we see the current situation also. We see the behavior of some personalities, some countries differently, and again the turmoil always exists. So it is not a new thing. It is a permanent Maya effect. Anyway, Vidura has decided not to participate in the war, and he tried to help his brother. Actually, brother is Dhritarashtra is brother of Vidura, elder brother of Vidura. And but Vidura was born to the Dasis, that is a lower caste woman, but Vyasa is the father for all of them. Now, finally, when Vidura is a very knowledgeable person at that time, so he is trying to explain Dhritarashtra, saying that what you are doing is not right. At certain point, it comes to the ego. Then he starts abusing, blaming Vidura, saying that you are a Dasiputra. He comes to the personal level, biting. So he says so many bad words, saying that your mindset is like this, what you understand about the kingdom and all those things, he says. So finally Vidura says, okay, there is no meaning of arguing with such person. I will get out of this. The best way to do is get out of this situation. He started his pilgrimage. Typically that time, in the way they used to go for Badri or the Kedarnath, wherever they used to go, they go by walk, or maybe used to take the horse or something like that. It was a time consuming process. So this is happened already. This Vidura left that place, he started traveling, he visited so many places, visited so many sadhus, again getting the console of, he felt he failed in the life because he could not stop the war. The war happened. This is after 10 years of the war. Now Vidura is coming to a place called Prabhasa. Prabhasa seems to be the common place where everyone comes and visits and stay there. It may be a common point to go to now the Haridwar, Rishikesh kind of place, right? It may be a common place at that time in nearby Dwarka. So he comes to the Prabhasa, and there he meets Uddhava. Uddhava is a very close friend and associate of Sri Krishna from childhood, as well as when he was in the part of the advisors group of Sri Krishna. We will come to know during the Dashamaskanda that how close was Uddhava. Actually, once he represented Krishna as a very close associate of Krishna to console the people. So he has been sent as a messenger. Those things we see in Dashamaskanda. But now Vidura and Uddhava are meeting, and they felt very happy to see each other. War is ended. Uddhava is also on the way to his pilgrimage in Yatra. So now they met to spend time, maybe couple of days or weeks together in Prabhasa area, and during that time Uddhava said, do you know Krishna is going to end his avatara, because he was very close friend of Krishna, and Krishna gave me a lot of information about the nature of the creation, how it gets created, how cyclic is the creation happens, and how Bhagwan is involved in the creation, who all are, what are the devatas responsibilities, and what is the reason of so many things he explained, even the time, space, all the physics related activities, how the sound is born, all those things he has mentioned. But Vidura is interested in knowing the details. He says, come on, tell me, explain, start explaining. And Uddhava explains only the Balalila of Shri Krishna, and how close was he, and how, what are the activities. He always enjoyed the telling the story about Krishna. But after certain days, he said, okay, I need to leave for Badri and Badrikashrama. So there is another person who knows these details. His name is Maitreya. And so you can ask him. I think he's also on the, he's, now these guys are at the Yamuna Saraswati river side while they're discussing. Then he says, you can meet Maitreya in Ganga river side where he is touring. Maybe he will find, he will explain the same thing what I know. But I am now in a mood to hurrying with to go to, I'm in a hurry to go to Badrikashram. So then they separated. Then with a lot of interest to know the details, Vidura again traveled from this place to Yamuna riverside. Typically, they used to go rivers to rivers, riverside to riverside. That is the way, that was the mode of reference. So now he comes to Ganga Tat. That's where he meets Maitreya. The details about Maitreya is that he is a son of Maitri and another Maitreya is the son of Maitri Rishi, and he is also Shishya of Parashara Muni. Parashara is the father of Vedavyas. When Parashara Muni used to teach, Maitreya was also a classmate of Vyasa. That way, he becomes classmate, as well as Vyasa also taught to the same Bhagavata related the creation and other things to Maitreya also. So Maitreya is also a wise person, knows all the details. And Krishna knew everything, so Krishna shared with Uddhava, and Krishna said to Uddhava that even Maitreya knows the details, and all now they know who knows what kind of thing. Now Vidura wants to know. Vidura is found Maitreya. They met each other and they started discussing. Of course, when they meet in Ganga riverside, Ganga Tat, they spend months together. It's not like one day meeting, kind. They used to spend times like that, relaxed. So Vidura starts asking questions. One of the most important question from Vidura is, everyone in this world engages in fruitive activities to attain the happiness, but they don't get the happiness. They don't even get the satisfaction of that. But everyone attempts to be happy. On the contrary, they only get aggravated by such activities and they suffer. What is the reason for all these things? Give me the direction how one should live with real happiness. Now, when this question is, this is the common question, not only Vidura, any one of us, if we sit for a time, maybe 10-15 minutes, what are the things going on in our life on daily basis, you will come to know, we think something is good, we want to do, and we try to get it, and then we, as if we grasped it, then there is followed by that is the unhappiness. Even for conducting a event program in your home or in organizations, suddenly everything is going good, one thing, bad thing happens, and the entire the experience of what happened good is negated, and people start struggling, right? So these are the common symptoms that of the nature that day to day people are doing. So now the question is, how do we get it? So when I was looking at this question, I also came across one. His name is Dr. Robert Lustig. He gave the difference between pleasure and happiness. He says pleasure is a long lived, sorry, pleasure is a short lived, and happiness is a long lived. Pleasure is taking, and happiness is comes through giving. Pleasure comes through taking, and happiness comes through giving. And pleasure is versatile, and happiness is ethereal. And pleasure is alone, enjoyed by alone. But happiness comes through the social enjoyment. That is doing the social service. I Pleasure can be achieved by the substances, materials, but not the happiness. And too much of pleasure leads into the addiction, but too much of happiness does not lead into the addiction. Finally, if you come to the point of chemicals, right? What causes happiness and pleasure? One is a dopamine, that is pleasure, and happiness is serotonin, right? If you come to the medical terms. So finally, what Dr. Robert Lustig says is more pleasure you seek, you are more unhappy. Like more money, like going to the Las Vegas, or power, going to Washington DC, getting the higher power, all those things, right? Wall Street kind of activities, all these things, more of a nature is giving the, it is taking something and getting pleasure out of those things. But happiness is coming to seva, services, doing good things for others, considering helping others. So that will give the satisfaction. So these are the discussions already in the current world also being discussed, but not in the context of the Bhagavad Puran, because very few people in the Western hemisphere know about Bhagavad Puran. They are reinventing, but fortunately we know Bhagavad. We read this, same questions are answered in a very methodical way. Now coming back to what Maitreya discussed about, explained about pleasure and happiness to Vidura's question. Then Maitreya says, you are, for Vidura's question, Maitreya says, exactly, you asked a very nice question. It is a common question everywhere. And Krishna has explained about this. There are two possibilities. One is by understanding the Srushti Kriya, how and why the creation happens. Second one is understanding Bhagavan's avatara, why, how he helps. First one is Srushti Kriya and why the things happen, how the nature happened, how it evolved, understanding that, try to grasp it. Second thing is the aware of the existence of the Bhagavan, and he takes the avatars to help this world to run. If we understand these two things, mainly it is about Dashalakshana of the things we saw in the Bhagavad Puran in the previous skanda, the Sarga, Visarga, and Sthana, Poshana, right? So those are the things, if we understand through the Bhagavan story, that will help us the understanding and solving the question, answer to the question that you are asking. How to live, to be happy in the current state, kind of thing. So that's what now I'm going to explain you. That is all part of the Bhagavata Purana. That's what this is Maitreya telling to Vidura. And also Maitreya says one very important sentence in this Bhagavata Purana. There are two people who can be very happy. The one who are ignorant of everything, they just think this life is happening. Whatever comes on their way, they enjoy and they don't even worry about. They completely surrender to Bhagavan, saying that whatever happens is because of him, kind of thing. So another person is who really knows the entire nature of the. This is a person who is elevated, mentally elevated, like realized souls, right? They also can be happy. But typical mindsets in the nature, most of the people are, they think they know the things, they think they can achieve the things, they think they are in control. That is the main problem. The thinking of me doing, attached myself to the body activities, is the main cause of the suffering. That's what Maitreya explains. For example, yesterday, no, I think 3 or 4 days back, I was feeling, I was in a dream. That was maybe around 7 o'clock in the morning. Some crocodile kind of thing is sucking my, it is holding my leg and it is pulling me inside. I am thinking, I'm dying, going to die. I'm going to die. Then I'm struggling, and it is a lot of fight is happening. I thought I'm going, right? Something is going on. Fight. And suddenly I woke up because something changed in the. Then I realized, oh, it is not a real thing. That's whatever that fear I had, whatever that fight I was doing is a dream. Then I see that my leg was stuck under my wife's leg or something. Because of that, I'm struggling to take it out, and it looked like a crocodile. Story changed. The entire dream is a dream. As soon as I come to know, when I woke up, I came to know that it is not the real. I was totally happy. Oh, it is not real. It was a dream. Then I felt, after that I was feeling that if the dream the suffering in the dream that we are getting, if it can be resolved by waking up, and it happens by its own. It is not that I intentionally woke up, right? I woke up, that's all. So there may be another stage about this entire world, what we are going through, a stage where I wake up again, then I realize that whatever is happening is a drama. So that may be the awakened state of the mind of the self-realized souls. That may be the reason they are happy. So coming back to the Bhagavata Purana, this is all a personal experience I'm sharing. So the awakening happens through two possibilities. One is a complete surrendering. Second one is knowing and learning, reading about Bhagavata and maybe avatars of Bhagavan. So these are the parihara that Maitreya is telling to Vidura. This is the way your questions can be answered. Then he says, okay, now then Vidura says, okay, why can't you explain what is this Srushti Kriya? Then Maitreya starts explaining. The entire discussion will bring you to the details of what they want to convey in the message of the Bhagavata Purana. If you remember, in the second skanda, we discussed about Bhagavata Purana 10 characteristics. There also he said about Sarga, Visarga. Now also he's starting the explanation of Sarga, Visarga kind of thing. Maitreya says the entire Srushti Kriya is a cyclic in nature. Even the science also agrees now. If you look into the Google, if you try to search in Google about cyclic nature of the creation, the latest physics scientist, what is his name? He talks about this entire universe is the creation process, the cosmic. He doesn't talk about God, but he talks about how the creation started and how it ends. how the universe expands and contracts and again expands and contracts in a million years, millions of years, and it is a cyclic in nature. Same thing Bhagavad Purana says, it is cyclic in nature. Vidura Maitreya says these kind of things are keep on happening. They in the Bhagavata Purana they talk about Mahakalpa, a time unit. That's the one when Brahma got created. That is the time when Vishnu, who was in the complete dormant state, no creation was happening for 100 years of Brahma. Then the 87th year of Brahma, the 87th year of 100 years, Vishnu wakes up. That means wakes up means he's not sleeping. He thinks of creating something, maybe Leela, that maybe he wants to have fun. As soon as he thinks, another remaining 12 and a half years is the Sandhi time. 12 and a half years of Brahma's Ayushya, right? Then he creates Brahma at the 100th year. Then Brahma is the newborn, and Brahma, then he talks about the story about how the Brahma gets awareness and so that is the that portion of Bhagavan getting to start creation is called Mahatattva creation. That means Srushti coming to the norms, like waking up, right? If we consider this entire thing as one day of our life, we sleep in the entire night for 8 hours. Then after that we wake up. As soon as we wake up, we don't know exactly. Sometimes if you are in a really deep sleep, you don't know where you are sleeping, who am I, where am I, kind of thing. So that is this 12 and a half years of time. By the time you figure out, you start brushing, start activities, planning the days, be more active, then things starts happening, right? So now same thing happens with Vishnu's creation. He wakes up, he creates Brahma gets little confused, where am I? So those are all explained in the Bhagavad Purana. Since it happens several times means it happens innumerable times. Ananta. So that is the reason we call Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka Deva Devottama, right? We call Vishnu as Ananta Koti Brahmanda. He created unlimited, infinite Brahmandas. Right? So many he created, so many times he created. This is a drama. Every time the drama starts, the Mahakalpa starts, and the drama ends when the Pralaya happens. Right? And the participants are Brahma, Rudra, Vayu, then people like you, me, all coming to the stage and perform our act and get out. That means Maitreya says this is cyclic in nature, as well as this has a set pattern. There will be a Brahma, there will be a Manu. Brahma is for Kalpa, Manu is for the Manvantara. So now you may have a question, what is Kalpa, what is Manvantara? That will be discussion for the next session. Kalpa is the 1 year, 100 years of 1 day, 100 years of Brahma is called Mahakalpa. And now we are in the 51st day of Brahmas. We talk about what is this? Sri Shweta Varaha Kalpa. There are 14 of them. Varaha Kalpe. Out of that 14, there are 70 of Manvantara. 14 of Manvantaras there, and there is a repetition of 70 of them. Like that, there is a calculation of the time. We can discuss the details, and exactly they give the number of years in human number of years comparison with the Brahma's number of years. So Brahma's 1 day is 1 kalpa. If we assume that is 1 kalpa, and 100 years is his Ayushya. So this keeps on repeating, and every time kalpa happens, there will be 14 manvantaras in that. Every manvantara there will be Manvantara. There is a responsible god. Manuadipati. For the Kalpa Bhagavan, for the Kalpa Brahma, Brahmas is one Kalpa, and then there are so many repetitions happen in that. Manvantaras will keep repeating. That is that cycle, inner cycle. For that Manvantara, Manu is Adipati. In that Manu, there are so many Chaturyugas. In those Chaturyugas, again, they repeat again, right? Chaturyuga repeats 10 times. And each yuga is Dwapara, Treta, Kali, and all those things, Satya Yuga, and all those things. Each yuga has its own time set. Kali Yuga, two times Kali Yuga is Dwapara Yuga, two times Dwapara Yuga, three times Dwapara Yuga is something like Treta Yuga, four times of that is Satya Yuga, like that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 10. That combination they talk about very well, detailed. I will discuss about it. So that is a separate discussion we can keep. Now we continue saying that Maitreya says this is cyclic in nature. People, the drama repeats. Same yuga, Satya Yuga will be there. Kali Yuga will be there. Every yuga will be there. Things happen. There will be Bhagavata Purana told by somebody, and all those things. In that discussion, though it looks like a cyclic and set pattern, same person may not be existing. Now Anil is talking to the group of people about Bhagavad Puran. May not be the same person here. Maybe somebody else doing that. Or maybe people who are listening may be different. That means the patra will be there, the characters will be there, but the actor may be different. And maybe the nature of the Chicago city may be there. It may be not be Chicago. It may be called something else. But the things happen. Like the drama is there, the theaters may be different. The nature, city may be different. Like that, this entire, some are variables, some are constants. Constants means Manvantara and other things, these time related things are common. The actors are not common. Even Brahma also changes. All these guys get mukti. They will not come back in this drama. They will be in a they will go to Vaikunta and they will be in a highly elevated state and happy forever kind of thing. Then Bhagavan takes a set of devatas, set of atmas, manava and everybody and starts, okay, go and start the drama. This is the way Bhagavan, as per Maitreya, he says this is all his play. Why he does, it is he only knows. Why he wants to play with us, we don't know. Maybe it is a way of evolution for us. People who are in the dormant state, bring them like putting a seed, putting water and sunlight and everything, and it will grow and flower it. That is the evolution of that seed. That's it. That's what he wants to do every cycle. So he talks about this. Then he talks about how the nasha happens. He says Srushti and nasha and poshana. Right? Srushti he talked about, which is the cyclic in nature and all those things. Now he talks about nasha. There are three types of nashas. When he decides to, of course, if in the Manvantara also it is a cyclic in nature, we take birth and die. Somebody will take birth and come and die. That is also cyclic. There are so many inner cycles happening. And the day also, a day, and November, see any days, March 1st, then March 2nd, November 1st, November 2nd. Like that, these dates will come and go, but year will change. Then after the year, the 100 years will change. Then the thousands will change. Like that, that keeps on happening. So millennials will change, right? All those things keeps on happening. Same thing that is in the form of time, it is in the form of lives, keeps on repeating. But when it comes to the nasha is also cyclic in nature. It happens on a daily basis. It happens on a even unit of the time, minutes basis, seconds basis. A second get created, second dies. Pal do pal ka. Right? They talk about, right? The moment get created and destroys. something like that. It's the same. So in the Nasha situation, there are three types of Kalakruta Nasha, then Dravyakrita Nasha, then Gunakruta Nasha. Kalakruta Nasha is the expiry date. Something born, something takes birth, or something gets created, and it has an expiry date. It dies or gets destroyed. Nasha happens just because its time is done. Then Dravyakrusha Nasha is accidents happen. Tiger eating a cow or a deer, or accidents happening, right? Something like that. Then Gunakruta Nasha is because of somebody doing tamoguna is becoming too much. Then they exploding the bombs, they killing the people and all those things for no reason. In case of tiger eating cow, or tiger eating these deers and other things, it is because it is hungry, it is catching, right? That is Dravyakrita Nasha, Kalakruta Nasha, and Gunakruta Nasha. So this is how Maitreya explains to Vidura the beauty of the creation process. And he says the Srushti Kriya has 9 types. Nasha has 3 types. Srushti Kriya has 9 types. So that is the beauty of Bhagavata. Bhagavata Puran, I feel as much we go through and read and compare with the current science and research related behind on the Google and other things, these people, scientists, struggle. Of course, we are also technical guys. We struggle a lot to understand small things. If you get into Bhagavata and read, it has every answer for everything. Why the things happen, how the things happen. For example, I'm talking about 9 types of Srushti Kriya. The way we studied our evolution theory of, what is his name? He says about monkey got changed to man kind of thing, right? Darwin theory, right? Charles Darwin. All those things, they tried to understand, but he misunderstood. That the Darwin theory failed recently, right? But they tried to understand in a different way, looking that in a different way. But Bhagavata Puran and the ancestors of in Vedic time frame, and the people who did understand this nature by doing the meditation or submitting to themselves to the God and all those things, I felt they understood very right. And that's what Bhagavata explains. In the 9 types of creation, he says the first creation is Mahat Tattva Srushti creation. That is waking up, Chitta. Bhagavan, the higher soul, we can call it as a super soul. He decides, he wakes up in the morning, he looks around, then he starts creation. That is the Mahat Tattva. And he gives life in every other participants of the creation. A typical, like you have the rice and water put together in a pot, however long you put there, that is not going to become the baked rice, right? It won't. If you put the fire below that, it will take 10 minutes or 15 minutes to get cooked, become the rice. So that energy, that a fire that is set by the super soul, Bhagavan, the starting point of that's where he is Sarvatantra Swatantra. When he decides to start, that's when the gas is started, the burner is started, and the trigger. As soon as you turn it on, this spark comes and the starts, right? Same spark is called the Mahat Tattva getting Jagruta. It is getting awareness. With that comes the memories and other things, all that is existing in the past. Like your computer, if it is completely powered off, though the content is there, files are there, they are of no use, they are all in the silicon form. As soon as you connect your user interfaces like screen and key button, then you can bring up the all the data. So that's what happens. All our whoever supposed to become the Brahma, whoever supposed to become Indra, everybody gets their roles and all those things, and it takes so many years. It's not that so many thousands of years. And same thing scientists also talk about. When the Big Bang happened, it took so many million years to come to cool down and to form the planets and to have the conducive environment to get the water on the surface, and water becoming the first germination of the cell, single cell plants, and all the plants, and then animals, and then slowly water based animals, and then coming to the amphibians, then becoming two-legged animals, then four-legged animals, birds. Right? This is the evolution theory of Darwin. Then monkey, man, and monkey, all those things he talks about. But Bhagavad Purana says they all get created at a different time, at the differently, they separately got created. That is the difference. So now coming to the 9 types are Mahat Tattva. As soon as Mahat Tattva got created, then there comes a Ahankara Tattva, the awareness of. Ahankara is not ego here, right? Ego is different than Ahankara. The Ahankara we are talking about. Ahankara is a Tattva, an element that forms, that is the awareness of any individual, the Devata recognizing himself as, okay, for example, as soon as Bhagavan woke up, he decided to start the creation. Then some material came out of his Nabhi. It is not a physical Nabhi, right? Center of the black hole, right? Something like that. Something came up, and there comes a Atma, that is Brahma. Then he gets the awareness. That is called Ahankara Tattva. Ahankara Tattva, Brahma getting awareness is a Mahat Tattva, in fact. And Brahma starts deciding to create. There is a story, right? Brahma decided he did not know what to do. He was confused. Nothing is there. Everywhere it is dark. Still it is not morning yet. So he got confused. He went to Vishnu, and all those things we discussed in the last discussion. So now he starts creation, then the Ahankara gets created. Ahankara Tattva, there is Abhimani Devata shows up. That is Shiva, Mukkanna. With that Ahankara comes the Jnanendriya, Karmendriya get created. That is again turning on one by one, right? Turning on the one after the other switches. Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, all those things get. Now the question comes, what is this Jnanendriya? What is this Karmendriya? If you just look at, there is a light bulb in your car, right? But it won't glow. Bulb won't lit up unless you turn on the car. Existence of the bulb is a physical existence, like our eyeball or maybe ear. Merely having physical is not sufficient. There should be some connection. There may be centers in our brain which are responsible for seeing, which are responsible for talking, which are responsible for smelling. Those responsible things are the filaments, maybe whatever you call, are the Abhimani Devatas. So what he says is Ahankara Tattva, Dravyas, Jnanendriya, Karmendriya gets created. After that, Bhuta Shrushti. Bhuta means Panchabhuta Shrushti. Right? Panchabhuta, right? Like Akasha, water. They gives a beautiful sequence. Which comes first? And why the first one is responsible to create the second one? Like Srushti of Akasha, then water, then air, then like that. Then with that comes the Shabda, with that comes the heat. So beautiful sequencing they talk about. This is all very well explained in the Bhagavad Purana, very detailed. So now he says about one more very interesting concept. It is called Virata Purusha concept. When these things are getting created, this is not just created because they are independently get created. In fact, the story talks about all the all the Abhimani Devatas and Brahma, all this Karmendriya, Jnanendriya got created, but they could not get started. They could not apply the first gear. Then Bhagavan, he comes and he enters into the every part of these things. That he also involved. He is there, but he is not there. For example, in our human being, there is the Jivatma and there is a Paramatma. If you remember the story of the poem of Purandara Dasru, that they call it as a Budibudika song, right? They say uh, there are two birds. One is eating the fruit and another one is enjoying that, right? That kind of this one, right? Dvasuparana concept, right? This is a Vedic literature I'm talking about. So Purandara Das also explained about that in a poem that we can discuss some other time. So anyways, now Bhagavan, after creating all this Ahankara Tattva, Mahat Tattva, still they could not start. He entered into everything because he is the cause and he is the effect for the entire manifestation, cosmic manifestation. Then Maitreya says this personality of the Bhagavan who enters in everything, of course, who is also independent, but who enters in everything, like a sun lighting up the entire earth and enters in everybody's home, but the light you see may not be independent, it is coming from, and or maybe the entire our body. We have so many cells. Those cells are independently living cells, but they are all my cells, right? When I say it is anil, that is entire body is anil, but independent cell is there. So like that, Bhagavan enters. Bhagavan is lively there in everybody's, every part of that, but in the total combination, he is one Srushti. That entire body of that is called Virata Purusha. So Bhagavan is the Karanam Karanam Karta, the Vishnu Sahasranama statement, right? He is the cause and he is the effect. He is the one doing all these things. So there is a very beautiful discussion of Virata Purusha, how to understand. All those things are explained. And Mahat Tattva, the transformation into the Ahankara Tattva, that is right. All those things already happened. Then mental, the chitta and mind and gross senses, everything gets created, and Bhagavan triggers them, everything one after the other, one after the other. The sky is a product of sound, right? Sound is the transformation of ignorance. Something like that, they keep on talking. Sky is the symbolic representation of that is the first tattva, represents the vastness of the super soul. That is Virata Purusha. Like this, then the electricity was the charge I was talking about, the trigger, right? Then that is the energy that gives the creation process trigger. Then Rajoguna, this combination of three gunas, they will come into the transforming the things, like water happens. Then the last one is the earth that gets formed, and with the earth comes the smell, right? Like that. With water comes the taste, something like that. They keep on explaining Pancha Tattvas, Pancha Bhutas, the relationship, and Pancha Tanmatrayas, that the instruments to taste, nose, is the instrument to smell. Mouth, the tongue is the instrument to taste. The skin is the instrument to touch, the feeling, right? That feeling means even the touch or the heat or the cold, all those things. So these come along with the Pancha Gnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Tanmatraya kind of, Pancha Bhuta. So Pancha, these talk about Prapancha kind of. So like this, there is a list of things that happen. The Bhuta Srushti is the third stage, Indriya Srushti is the fourth stage, where the nose and ear and the instruments and the senses get created. Then their fifth stage is, that's where the Abhimani Devas responsible for that get created. For the eye it is Indra, for the Manasu it is Chandra, like that they keep on adding Devatas names associated. They are all the Devatas, independent super souls who have come here to play their responsibilities. And finally we become the end product. That means we also have the Abhimani Devatas operating through us, right? That is the reason we do all the puja. If you want to learn to speak well, then you have to pray the God which is responsible for that. If you are doing some kriya then some construction, some project, then you should pray the God who is responsible, Abhimani Devata, for the Vidnas. That is Ganesha, who is responsible for the space, right? All the activities we do in the space, so we have to Ganesha puja has to be done when you start any new thing. So all these things, because of the way this get created, those things. But at the Abhimani Devatas are formed, demigods. Then the sixth one gets created is they say by mistake this gets created. They say it happens, it is not mistake, because Bhagavan may not do a mistake. It happens through Brahma. This is called avidya. This avidya is the main cause for all the drama. The script behind drama is this. This avidya has 5 types. Tamishra, Andha Tamishra, Tamas, Moha, Mahamoha, right? 5 different types. It is nothing but first understanding the truth as not understanding it as it is. That is the first one. Second one is believing that what I have understood is right. Moha, Mahamoha. And first is Tamishra, misunderstanding of the truth. Then Andha Tamishra is the one where it says what I have understood is the right. Then comes the Moha. Moha is what I have understood is right, but what your understanding is wrong. Then comes, if you don't agree with what I understand, then I will kill you. That it goes to the 5th level. That is how the entire avidya is acting. That's what they say in the Bhagavata Purana. This answers all our question why the things are happening the way in our current world. I believe in this God. If you don't believe in this God, that means you should be killed. That is the highest level of Mahamoha. Right? That's what is happening now. My way is the right way. First of all, misunderstanding. Then believing that what they are understanding is right. Third one is what I am understanding is right, but your understanding is not right. Fourth one is I hate what you are understanding. Fifth one is I will kill you. I don't want you if you don't follow my way. So these are the reasons, avidyas are the reasons for the drama that is unfolding like this. After this, 7th one, they talk about Stavara, Vanaspati, Aushadhi, Lata, then the bamboo, right? These, and again here also they give a very clear classification. It is not just naming them. They talk about why the vanaspati is called vanaspati, because it is the one which gives the fruit without giving the flower. Then one gives the fruit with after the flowering. Like that they talk about different varieties of the different varieties of the plants. In the Bhagavad Puran it says first is the plants get started. Pachi, this is the sorry, this algae and other things, they are the started one. Then they talk about the flower, the plants, vanaspatis, aushadhas, latas, and they also talk about bushes. Then there is another last item is a typical one which does not have the center portion, that is called bamboo. Bamboo is a different type which outer side it looks, they don't say bamboo there, they say it is a different name, but it explains about the bamboo tree is the one it talks about. So there are 6 types. There cannot be any other type in the classification. If you go to the botany and see so many classifications we have done in the science, but these guys they just classify them as 6 items. Similarly, in the 8th stage of the creation, they talk about the animals get created. In that they classify as 28 different varieties, and they mention about Dvishafa, that means two in their legs there is a 2 separations like deer's leg, right? 2 separations. Then Ekashapa, that is like a donkey, right? For the Dvishapa, typical cow has the 2 portions in the leg at the end, right? That is called. Then Ekashafa is like a donkey and the horse. It's one. Then Panchanakha, like the tiger and our cats, dogs, right, and even the then all these things get created. So they talk about what some a set of creations, 28 different ways they classify the animals. That is the 8th stage of creation that happens. Then comes the beautiful creation, that is the 9th one, which is Manava gets created. Though it is a beautiful creation of Bhagavan, Brahma, maybe Bhagavan himself, because after that Brahma starts working on that. But they say not a good message here. They say these are the ones, the last ones that created 9 out of the 9, who always are selfish in nature. Only one type of person. Every person, because they are mentally, the brain is grown and Adnana is very heavy. Absorption of the Adnana is too much. If you go to the animals, there may not be ego or any other things, because it is they may not even save the food, right? Something like that. Or for those things are maybe some of the animals they save their food and kind of thing, but they mark their territories slowly. Compared to plants, animals are little more impacted by the Adnana. Then human beings are highly impacted by Adnana, avidya, right? Those are the main classifications they give. 9th one is the Manava Srushti. They always selfish, they always are highly influenced by this avidya. Because of that, they start searching for the happiness in thinking that they will get the happiness. They do lot of drama and activities still they don't get those things and they get burnt and they suffer. This is what Maitreya says about the Srushti Kriya and all those things, and he explains the details. Now, we can analyze scientifically all these things compared to what is the science talks about this, right? Now, I was talking about the Virata Purusha. So, people in the scientists also thinking, is this entire universe a cosmos is a living organism? Is it living? Like we are looking at a car, it looks like a living because it runs. If you decide what is the how do I define a living and non-living, right? It should grow, it should move, all those things we talk about, right? Those things, if they apply the principles of giving and living and not living, that we can think of apply all those things, then it looks like and the entire universe is a living organism. That is a Virata Purusha. That concept is already explained. Scientists also say, some of the papers, they talk about, yes, entire cosmos is connected, it grows, it collapses, it dies. So it has some super intelligence which we don't know how it is working, but looks like it is a entire cosmos is a living. The science talks about this. Then one of the papers on the Google I looked at, it talks about there are in our galaxy, in our expanding universe, there are roughly about trillion to 2 trillion galaxies, each containing maybe 500 billions of planets. Each, that is equal to 5 into 10 to the power of 22, right? So many things are connected to each other, right? In the same idea, if you apply to the cell of a human body, we can say that someone estimated the number of cells in our body is 10 to the power of 16, between 10 to the power of 11 to the 10 to the power of 16 number of cells, but all are together. Every part makes a body. So like that, the human body is made up of so many trillions of cells. So entire cosmos is made up of so many planets and the galaxies, different units putting together, some energy binding them together. In our body we call it as a Jivatma. In the bigger cosmic level it is a Paramatma. That is the Virata Purusha we talked about in Bhagavata Purana. Science is trying to come very near to that. I'm really surprised how these scientists, why after so many years, why they did not study Bhagavata Purana and parallelly draw the lines. They would have understood, it would have guided them to make a right hypothesis. Like Darwin tried to come very near to Bhagavata Purana, how the evolution happened, but he did not make it right, then failed. Same thing was with the Big Bang, right? Concept. They came very, very, very near to the explaining the age of the earth, the age of the cosmos. Bhagavata Purana talks about that. When we discuss in the next discussion, we talk about the number of years and other things exactly match with the carbon datings and other things, what scientists think about age of the universe. Bhagavata Purana already talks about it. Same numbers, the billions of years, 3.35 billion years, and they talk about 3.4 billion years. Something, there is a very slight difference. Maybe there is a miscalculation happened in either side. Mostly it is the scientist side, because Bhagavata Purana is much more evolved and it has a solid background but they talk about an energy which we cannot experience. That may be the reason scientists are not able to grasp. So if you don't grasp, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? But they have to come to the conclusion. Every science has a hypothesis. Same thing, hypothesis, we have to keep that Bhagavata Purana says the right thing. Whatever said in that is told by Bhagavan. Then continue understanding. We can really draw the parallels and understand it much better. But somehow it did not happen. There are so many things I looked into on the internet. They talk about the entire systems is very intelligent, they say. Then they talk about common wormholes is another concept in the science. The idea of the scenario of the wormholes. The Stephen Hawking, I am talking about Stephen Hawking is one of the great physicists in the modern times. He talks about wormholes, and he says our universe might be a bud pinched off from the earlier cosmos. He says it just started, and it is cosmos is running with the different laws of physics. Therefore, new universe might be sprouting from our universe and then grow and create their own self-contained branches of time and space. This is the scientific language Stephen Hawking talks about. Finally, after comparison and after all this, what I understand is, with all this great progress in the biology, still there is not a generally accepted definitions for what is living organism or something. Technological advances and all those things happened in the past century, but still science struggles in coming to the conclusion. For example, till today, till maybe 50 years back, we did not know till the microscope was identified, we did not know there exists a paramecium, there exists a amoeba. That doesn't mean they did not exist, they exist. Recently, we are coming across this corona. We did not know it existed, but it was existed maybe much earlier than us. So by all these conclusions, what I am thinking is, Bhagavata Puran has answer for all these scientific questions also. So let us continue the discussion about time and space, how they calculate and who is responsible for those things in our next session. Very interesting session. This is again Maitreya talking to Vidura, explaining all these details about Virata Purusha, Srushti Kriya, the types of Srushtis, classifications, how the Nasha happens, what are the reasons for Nasha, and what is the reason for the drama is unfolding like this, and how do we get out of this mess and can be happy by understanding these things. So everything is explained, only thing is practicing or maybe reading so many times and bringing in practice may help us. So till then, till we meet next time on the 5th day about the time and time calculations of the cosmos, I will do the samarpana of all this discussion to Sri Krishna. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.